Now to our coverage of the devastating flood disaster in Maiduguri, as President Bola Tinubu says his administration will do all it can to rebuild all communities affected by flood and bring succor to victims. He stated this when he paid a sympathy visit to the government, people of the state. Senior reporter Jesse Tafida reports.
President Bola Tinubu was accompanied by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, members of the National Assembly, and chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. President Tinubu is in the state to commiserate with the government and people over the floods that affected over 1 million people.
Thank you.
He disclosed that government under his administration will do its best towards bringing succor to victims of the flood disaster. This visit, according to Mr. President, is to share in the moment of grief and pain with the victims of the flood.
I'm just here to sympathize with you. I know your palace was overtaken by flood. I've had the report. This one disaster that we must pay attention to. We will help Borno State.
President Tinubu promised to assist the state government in no small measure to bring Borno back to its feet. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Meanwhile, President Tinubu assured the victims of the Maiduguri flood of support from government. He gave the assurance when he paid a visit to the victims currently lodged at the internally displaced persons camp in Borno State. Mr. President promised to continue praying for them and provide the necessary support. Also, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, visited the state capital to sympathize with the state government and victims. During the visit, he assured that the 4 police stations destroyed by floodwaters would be rebuilt soon.
I can imagine the hardship and difficulties this will have brought upon the people, and especially the people of the affected communities. I want to assure Your Excellency that the Nigerian Police Force stand with you. We are going to work with you to ensure that relief finally comes to the people. I commend the swift response of Your Excellency to the disaster. I commend the relief efforts that you have so far undertaken to mitigate the impact of the flood. Your Excellency will have been informed that the police community was also affected by this disaster. 4 of our police stations and 3 outposts were affected. Our modern EOD training school was also affected. I want to assure Your Excellency that the police leadership will support Your Excellency in the rebuilding of these affected police institutions.
TVC News' Jesse Tafida joins me now with first-hand insight on Mr. President's interaction with the affected communities. Jesse, what specific assurances did Mr. President offer the victims?
What we affirmation is what is coming from the president's side today, because when he came today, he went straight to IDP camps to see what is happening in the camps, to have a feel of the grief they are going through. And according to him, he's here to feel the grief together with them, to tell them that the federal government is working seriously to see that they are being taken back to their homes and they will be supported so that they can return to their livelihood. As we took time to visit the Shehu of Borno this evening, and he assured the Shehu that the federal government will do all it can to rebuild Borno, all the destroyed communities, old houses, shops that were destroyed. The federal government is going to work together with the state government to give shelter to those victims of insurgency. And when he was coming to the state capital to ascertain the level of damage, there was a rousing welcome from residents, those affected and those that weren't affected. They were happy to see the president, though the vice president was here during the incident. But now that they see the president, they are so excited to receive him, to hear what he has to say to them. And just as I've said, there are words of reaffirmation to tell them that he's here to support them. And the federal government will also intensify its intervention plan, talking about food and non-food items to support those victims, to give them a sense of belonging. And the CEO was also happy to see other governors from opposition coming to give support to the state government, according to him. This is what Nigeria is all about. The diversity is what brings us together, and he's so much excited to see the governor of Bauchi and Adamawa giving so much to the Borno state government to support them in assisting those victims of the flood disaster. And before he came back to the airport, he also followed some of the areas that were not accessible during the flood. And when he saw the water receding, he was impressed, and he, according to him, is going to support the state government in any way to see that these victims advance.
You have been to these camps yourself. How much help is getting to the people, and how are they reacting to these interventions?
The first help came from the federal government when the vice president came during the flood disaster on Tuesday last week. He promised loads of food and non-food items to these victims. And we could see them in the camps. There are kitchen stations that were established in the camps. The government cooked for the victims to give them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because these victims were not out with their kitchen materials. It is the government that is cooking for them. We could see humanitarian organizations providing help. The state government is giving cash and food items also to those victims of flood disaster. And we have seen governors of different states, ministers coming to give support to the Borno state government. And also former governors of Borno, deputy governors of Borno, are also here giving support. And we could see that help is coming to the way of these victims. But just we reported over the week that the IDP camps are overcrowded. The new IDP camps were open, and even those ones that were open are overcrowded because of how people continue to come to the camps. Now these people have lost virtually everything, and they have to come to the camps to get support from the government. The government is seeking for them. Sometimes the challenge the government is facing is that people are not patient enough to wait for their turn. You see them rushing food, and at the end of the day, they won't get what is expected of them.
Indeed.
What the state government and the federal government is doing is that, and also humanitarian agencies are supporting the government to see that the victims of the flood have been catered for.
But hopefully the best is enough, especially with concerns about impending cholera outbreak at these camps. Jessica Fida live for us in Maiduguri. Still ahead on the news tonight, People's Democratic Party House of Assembly candidate Akinshola Jimoh dumps party for the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State. We have that story and more. Stay with us.